What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up? 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 I feel like my levels is low. Let me double check to make sure that my levels is right. All right, we in the building. What up, friends and family? I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with us. It's Monday, March 24th, 2025, year of our Lord. I am absolutely positively excited to come before you guys this morning. And I hope that you're ready to have a full show because we got a full show. You know, Mondays after the weekend, we always got to bring y'all up to speed on everything that's been happening over the weekend. And then we also are anticipating and bringing you into what's going to happen throughout the week. So if you have not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Also, for those of you that's just getting here for the first time and you want to enjoying the show, just hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications also. For my bag chasers, shout out to my Patreon members. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you're looking to rock out with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And shout out to everybody that has tapped in with me on the vlog. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that has tapped in with me on the vlog because the vlog is going up. I honestly didn't anticipate. Honestly did not anticipate the level of appreciation that other people are having. I couldn't imagine that it would already be at 50,000 subscribers. That's crazy. That's crazy. It grew by thousands and thousands of subscribers in less than a week. I didn't know that y'all wanted that OG content, that old Anton, that old feeling back. But we here. What up to everybody in the chat? I appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody that supports the platforms across different platforms, including shout out to everybody on Cash App. I appreciate y'all. Myron says motivation to thinking to do better. I appreciate you, Myron. And he said that he's also a licensed plumber. Shout out to my licensed plumber and my trades people out here in these streets. Shout out to Mike that dude. I appreciate you, Mike that dude. And then my guy Spencer Campbell. He says, good morning, AD and the Bag Chasers. What up to Spencer Campbell? I do. I have a full show that's lined up for you guys today. And I got a vlog that I'm dropping for y'all today. Yes, I do. And we got the Q show tonight. We're going to be live streaming. And we got lots going on. You said you love the transparency, HBJ. Yeah. You know, I have to give you my flaws, my issues, my troubles, my problems, along with the things that I am doing right and how things are going well and all of that. So it can't just be one way. if you're going to vlog yourself, if you're going to share your life with other people, and I would imagine for a lot of people it's very difficult to keep up with because they don't have a routine, and they got their chick and all of this other stuff, and they on their back, and they don't want to be as transparent, and they scared about what their job gonna think. Y'all gotta have a plan. Put a plan in place. You gotta have a plan and put a plan in place, because if you trying to get into this, if this is what you're trying to do, then you're gonna have to go all in. You can't halfway do anything anymore and expect everybody else to give you full support. All right. So yeah, I gotta share you the good, the bad, all of that. I think the one that I'm recording today that I'm going to drop for tomorrow, because I got one that I recorded yesterday that is dropping today. The one that I'm recording today that's dropping tomorrow, it's gonna be pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. But here we go. We here. Somebody said they purchased 2 new properties. Shout out to you. God is good. Yeah, the live vlog is nice. You can read it at the bowling place. Sassy dude went to prom with his daddy. Yeah, y'all seen that on my other channel. Anton, we might have to impose tariffs on Q if she brings Jazz tonight. Definitely need a plan, says Carr. Good morning to everybody. All right, y'all, lock in for the next 2 hours plus, because I'm going to keep you busy and distracted at work. For everybody that is getting paid right now to watch the Millionaire Morning Show, shout out to you. Shout out to all of my stay-at-home mothers. Shout out to everybody at work. Shout out to everybody at the post office. We're going to get to that shortly. Shout out to everybody that's in the trucks, my truck drivers, my hustlers, the people that are content creators. Shout out to my people that's in the plant. Shout out to my nurses. Nurses love AD. Nurses love AD. Shout out to everybody in the church. Shout out to all of my daycare workers. Everybody, no matter what you're doing, if you are distracted by what you're doing by tuning into the Millionaire Morning Show, then you are in the right place at the right time. All right? Shout out to y'all. You in the gym favorite? I like that. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. Again, we got the Q show tonight. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon, and let's get to it. All right. So first things first, I just want to go ahead and get straight in it. Quick Hits. So Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to each individual subject, but we want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on in these streets. Workers, USPS, Postal Service rallies. I seen one inside of Detroit this weekend. This is happening in Chicago. Across the country, postal workers are protesting the potential privatization of the post office. Check it out.
To be clear, the Trump administration has not announced any plans to privatize the United States Postal Service just yet. But amidst rumors of job cuts and a potential merger with the Commerce Department, thousands of U.S. postal workers are rallying across the country this weekend, including right here in Chicago. Hundreds of unionized letter carriers and their leaders packed into Chicago's Federal Plaza this morning to send a message to those in Washington who might come after their jobs.
We're going to send a message today from downtown Chicago to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Hands off our mail service.
The rally is one of more than 200 that have taken place nationwide over the last few days as the embattled Postal Service fights to keep its independence after President Trump last month addressed rumors that USPS might be absorbed into the Commerce Department, a move that would effectively make it part of the executive branch of government.
We want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. And we're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better than it has been over the years.
For nearly 60 years now, USPS has funded itself without taxpayer dollars. But it's no secret the agency is in dire financial straits, losing nearly $10 billion last year.
That's crazy. That is crazy. No private entity, because that is a false narrative, and that it is completely private and independent of taxpayer dollars. We all know that that's BS, because the taxpayers continue to hit them with an infusion of cash so that they can remain solvent. But to lose, listen. Any agency, any business, any entity that is losing $10 billion plus per year, something got to give. Something has to give. Is no way that you can sit here and tell me that we need to keep on our books. A $10 billion loss. You know why they protesting, right? They protesting because then they not going to have them cushy jobs no more. It's going to have to actually get up and work. They're going to have to actually get up and work. Post office has been on life support since the inception of the post office. They're going to have to get up and work. I know what y'all do inside of those postal offices. I know for real, what y'all really doing inside of the post office. You don't think that I got people that I coach that actually work in these post office places that tell me that y'all be playing cards and shooting dice and chilling and falling asleep, getting caught falling asleep and not even being fired? I know what's really going on, but they don't want to give up them cushy jobs. I think the post office is one of the last places that still get a pension. I believe that the post office is one of the last places that still get a pension. Crazy, $10 billion a year.
Supporters, however, fear that any move to take away its independence will cost thousands of union jobs and threaten the Postal Service's universal mandate to deliver mail and packages to all, regardless of location or profitability. Senator Dick Durbin and Mayor Brandon Johnson were among a long list of politicians who came out today in support of the letter carriers.
Do you think
Shout out to V. Nicole, I love that.
Service is a good idea or a bad idea?
Bad idea! They need to hear it from sea to shining sea. We are going to make sure that we protect all.
Did he say sea to shining sea? Did he just literally mimic the words of a song? From sea to shining sea. Did Brandon Johnson just literally say sea to shining sea? Yo, Brandon Johnson gave all of y'all money in Chicago over to illegal migrants. And he dismantled the shot spotter cameras that the police use to help keep crime low inside of y'all cities. Y'all listening to people like Brandon Johnson?
All of our public accommodations, whether it's the mail, whether it's education, whether it's justice, whether it's environment, we are fighting for the working people of this country.
Political theorists.
They working and protesting for their jobs because they know that as long as they tie y'all to this liberal mindset, and even though it's costing all of us more money every single day to subsidize these places like the post office, it don't even really matter. Anyways, in addition to that, Mia Love, the first Black Republican woman in Congress, dies from brain cancer at 49 years old.
At the 2012 Republican Convention, Mia Love, the daughter of Haitian immigrants, made her national debut.
My parents immigrated to this country with $10 in their pockets and a hope that the America they heard about really did exist.
As Utah's first black woman mayor, she was running for Congress and voiced opposition to President Obama.
Mr. President, I'm here to tell you the American people are awake and we're not buying what you're selling in 2012.
Mia Love narrowly lost that race, but she won over the Republican Party faithful with her pro-gun, pro-tax cut, anti-abortion stances. When she ran again in 2014, she made history.
Many of the naysayers out there said that Utah would never elect a black Republican LDS woman to Congress. Not only did we do it, we were the first to do it.
A rising star, Mia Love built connections on both sides of the aisle. She was a reliable Republican vote, but she occasionally broke with her party on issues such as access to contraception and gun regulation and immigration reform. She even spoke out against some Trump administration policies in his first term.
The practice of separating loving families from their children at the border is heartbreaking to watch.
After losing a tight race in 2018, Mia Love became a CNN contributor, where she relished political debate.
Let people vote on them. Let them pass or fail, but at least they have a voice.
After being diagnosed with brain cancer in 2022, she responded with her typical fighting spirit.
I actually had a doctor look at me and say, "You're gonna die from this, it's inevitable." They can figure out my diagnosis, but I don't have to take the prognosis.
Mia Love underwent surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, and cutting-edge immunotherapy, far outliving expectations. Her determination to survive and her faith were fierce.
I have to say, this is for everyone who is struggling with something like this. Do not underestimate the power of a positive attitude.
She took solace in her Mormon beliefs, her family, and her friendships.
Yay.
I'm coming in to give you a hug.
I love you, Jake. You're awesome.
I love you too.
A wife and mother and trailblazer, Mia Love will be remembered by many, mainly as a beautiful soul, someone who brought a valuable perspective and a sense of humanity to the world of politics.
Regardless of how you feel about her politics, whether you conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, whether you liked her in Utah or not, cancer is trash, bro. I hate it, man. I hate it. I hate when people have to battle against something. You know, when we talk about people dying in the community at the hands of each other, that's one thing. When you're talking about cancer and stuff like that, and this is why we need to like find out what's in our food and all of that. Is more cancer than ever before and more money flowing into it, but less results and stuff like that. I just don't like to see that. And you know what I'm saying? Once a person passes, honestly, once a person passes away, I wash it away. I don't have anything negative or positive to say anymore. I just say I pray for their family. I hope that they find peace in it. And I hope that everything works out. So I think that we, and sometimes, regardless of what side of the aisle you on, we have to make sure that we let our humanity shine through. And when a person is no longer here to speak for themselves, all we can do is just say the positive things that happen in their legacy, and hopefully that their family is okay. So rest in peace to her. I never want to see somebody die at 49 years old over something that they fought through, but something that they couldn't control. Brain cancer is wild. It's absolutely wild. You got to live every day like it's your last. So in addition to that, though, a former U.S. attorney was found dead in her Virginia home. Check it out.
Now to the investigation into the death of a former federal prosecutor in Virginia. Police responded to reports of an unresponsive woman and found 43-year-old Jessica Aber at a home in Alexandria, Virginia. She served as U.S. attorney for most of the Biden administration and then resigned the day President Trump took office. More now from ABC's Alex Perchet.
Tonight, an investigation into the tragic and unexpected death of a former U.S. attorney in Virginia.
Any additional units to assist fire for the cardiac arrest. Female found in bed, unresponsive, not breathing.
43-year-old Jessica Aber was found unresponsive inside her home by Alexandria police Saturday morning. Sources tell ABC News so far there's no indication of foul play and that the death appears to have been from natural causes. The state medical examiner will determine her cause of death. Attorney General Pam Bondi posting to X, "The loss of Jessica Aber is deeply tragic. Our hearts and prayers go out to her family and friends during this profoundly difficult time." Aber was appointed by former President Biden as the top prosecutor in the Eastern District of Virginia in 2021. She and her staff of roughly 300 prosecuted a number of high-profile cases, including cyber and drug cases. She also prosecuted war crimes in Ukraine.
We at the Eastern District of Virginia are proud to stand with the Criminal Division as part of the Department of Justice's efforts to hold perpetrators of war crimes violations accountable.
Aber resigned January 20th of this year when President Trump took office.
Her successor at the Eastern District called her a mentor and a proud Virginian since high school, saying that she loved the Eastern District and the Eastern District loved her back.
So they saying no foul play is suspected, but, you know, I'm going to stay on top of it because I want to know the full story. And I know that after the initial announcement of something like this happening, people tend to go their own way because new stories pop up and different people start to say different things. But I'm going to stay on top of it. I want to know what really happened. And I want to know if there's any kind of cover up or something happening or playing out. You never know. You never know. So I'll stay on top of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right. Let me go ahead and read a couple of super chats and then we'll go ahead and get started with prayer. And then we'll get started with the show. V. Nicole in the building. Shout out to V. Nicole. Says, "Hey, handsome friend. What's up, V?" Hey, V. I like it when the ladies call you handsome. You know what I'm saying? Nurses most definitely love AD. You already know. Have a blessed week. Shout out to my girl, V. Nicole. I appreciate you. Chris. Shout out to Chris Mayberry. Chris says, "Wow, AD, you will be opening any coaching calls up. I've had a lot of changes since our last talk. I want to run some things past you." Y'all think it's time for me to open up the coaching calls? to slowly migrate back into coaching calls. I've been kind of enjoying my non-coaching call life right now. Just been hanging out and winging it and vlogging every single day. Kay Cooper says, good morning, AD. My birthday was yesterday. I need that birthday song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Kay Cooper. Happy birthday to you. Hey, shout out to Kay Cooper. Happy birthday, baby girl. I love you. 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 Phoenix Blaze says, cancer is an abomination and God bless us all who fight it. May Miss Love rest in peace. She is 1 year older than me. Prayers to her family. I am encouraged to fight even harder after hearing this. Fight it, Phoenix. Fight it. I got to see you. I got to see you every single morning. Shout out to my baby, Phoenix Blaze. Prayers up. Hey, let's go ahead and say a prayer. Lord, we ask that you be with us today. Be with us this week. Be with us throughout the year and bless us to make smart decisions. Bless us to have no self-inflicted wounds. Rebuke diseases. Rebuke things that we can't control doing things to us. Because we know that self-inflicted wounds is one thing that we can deal with. But it's another thing to have to fight off something that we didn't even know was there. You know what I'm saying? Bless us, Lord. Bless all those that's going through it. Bless anybody that has an illness that they may not even know of. Bless us to go to the doctor to find out what's happening with our bodies. And bless those that are fighting things that we know not of. Bless us, Lord. Here's the thing that I really want to pray for. Bless the people that suffer in silence. Bless the people that suffer in silence. For every last one of you right now that is watching me on the Millionaire Morning Show, whether you agree with my politics or you agree with my relationship advice or you agree with anything or disagree with anything that I say, if you are going through it, whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's a disease that you didn't know that you had or a person in your life that did you dirty or, family members that take advantage of you, or, it's something that you feel like you need to get over, or you have something in your life that you need to let go, alcoholism, a vice, something that you got going on. Don't suffer in silence. Don't suffer in silence. Let's figure out how to let that go. Let's figure out how to let that go. Let's figure out how to get in touch with it. Sometimes we got to do things for something that's greater than our own. Seek out the help that you need. And I'm not saying that I have the answer for you, but I'm telling you that there is professional help. But the first thing that you got to do is you got to admit that you got a problem. And the second thing that you got to do is you got to seek out guidance from God. And the third thing that you got to do is you got to let go and forgive yourself. Fourth thing that you got to do is you got to go and seek professional help. Don't delay. Don't wait. Don't sit there and play games with yourself. This is not a respawn moment. This is not GTA. This is not Call of Duty. We are not playing some video game. Your life is not a joke. Your life is not a joke. Find out what's wrong with you. Get the help that you need. Lean on your community and the Bag Chasers. If you're a part of the Discord and you're part of the Bag Chasers, link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. Lean on your community and let's find out what it is that we can do for you to help you get through whatever it is that you're going through, all right? Let's get over these vices. Lord, bless us to lean on our community to get over the vices, regardless of where we stand in life. We all have a connection with each other in some way, shape, or form. And bless us to be there for each other when it's our time to actually let it go. In Jesus' name, amen. All right? Y'all ready to get started with the show and have a good time and be distracted over the next 2 hours? I am. I am. All right, y'all. First things first, Pam Bondi. All right. So, of course, you guys are familiar with the fact that Tesla has been under attack. Now, on the next Block Club that I plan on doing this week, no, not Block Club, Stock Club that I plan on doing this week, I am going to give you my breakdown and analysis, a full breakdown of what my thoughts are and why I am personally going to continue to invest in Tesla. I'm not telling you what to do, but I am going to lean into what I've taught you and the 8 things that we look for when we look to invest in a company and whether or not it's severely undervalued and what I think the value is going to be later on in life. Okay? 5 years, 10 years from now. So if you are not a part of Stock Club, I would advise you, if you are looking to dollar cost average or trying to figure out how it is that you can realign your portfolio, I would advise you to do so, because this weekend we got Stock Club coming up. I want to do it on a day that I don't have a whole lot going on, because I think that this is going to be a full breakdown, and we're going to probably spend at least an hour going over our portfolios, making sure that we capitalize off of what's going on in the market and making sure that we capitalize off of what's going to happen in the future. All right. But neither here nor there. Tesla vehicles have been being vandalized. Dealerships have been being set on fire. And of course, we have paid ops and liberals alike that are taking advantage of the system. But the question that we have to ask ourselves, more importantly, is what responsibility does those, especially our lawmakers and the people that are at the front of the political commentary, what role and responsibility do they hold in inciting these type of violence, and at the very least not denouncing it? I remember, regardless of what you feel about January 6th, people, and the main question that they asked Trump, whether it was on the campaign trail or whether it was during this recent political season, and they wanted to hold Trump accountable, and they asked him, and the main thing that they was asking him is, why didn't you tell the people to stand down? And he said, I did. He said that, not only that, but I offered Nancy Pelosi the full force of the National Guard and so on and so forth in order to make sure that this thing didn't happen. But regardless of how you feel about Trump, the thing that I want you to do is keep that same energy on both sides. Why aren't Democratic leaders denouncing and telling people not to vandalize Tesla dealerships? As a matter of fact, why aren't they telling people not to vandalize anything that's not theirs? Because it's reasonable people on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, that are under duress, that own vehicles that are internal combustion vehicles, and they own Tesla vehicles. Both Democrats and conservatives, Republicans and liberals own Tesla vehicles. Why are people getting their vehicles vandalized? Why are people touching other people's mailboxes, which you're not supposed to do? That is illegal. Why are people trying to bully other people and putting their hands on stuff that's not theirs, regardless of where you stand on the political aisle? Why aren't these Democratic leaders telling these people and their over-liberalized constituents not to put their hands on stuff that's not theirs? If you don't want to buy the vehicle, cool. If you want to protest, cool. But stop putting your hands on stuff that's not yours. Stop putting your hands on stuff that's not yours. Here's Pam Bondi and her thoughts and her warning to people like Jasmine Crockett about what they're doing and how they're inciting these riots and these violences.
And we begin this Sunday morning with President Trump's agenda and new resistance from Democrats and Democrat-appointed federal judges. The president's deportation flights to Venezuela are resuming this morning as officials there agreed over the weekend to resume accepting illegal migrants after some 200 Venezuelans accused of being gang members were deported to El Salvador last weekend and sent to a high-security prison there. And even though most Americans agree with President Trump's tough stance on crime and illegal migration, Democrats want to stop him. Federal Judge James Boasberg, appointed by former President Obama, claims he wants details on the deportation flights after blocking President Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport the immigrants, a ruling the DOJ has called judicial overreach. Here's the president on Friday.
They're tough people. They're bad people. We don't want them in our country. We can't let a judge say that he wants them. He didn't run for president. He didn't get much more than 80 million votes. And we just can't let that happen.
In addition to Boasberg, 3 other federal judges have ruled against the administration on different cases, including men competing in women's sports and government cuts by DOJ, all by judges appointed by either former Presidents Obama or Biden. As Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is taking a victory lap over the judges' resistance.
we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time.
So when Jasmine Crockett, for example, says, yeah, we're beating them in the courts and the judges are forcing them to take back federal employees and contracts and all of this stuff, it's because this is something that Biden and his administration and all of his constituents and all of the people that are on the Democratic side of politics put in place as a stopgap or a measure to try to make sure that Trump can't execute on the will of the American people by making sure that people are held accountable for the things that they're doing and the fraud, waste, and abuse that DOJ is finding. They appointed over 235 judges over the last year alone to try to make sure, just in case that they didn't win the election, that they can try to hold down and prevent the Trump administration from doing the things that they're supposed to do that's been mandated by the American people. This is everything that's been happening under your noses, and also why I say that you need to become familiar with what is going on locally. You need to become familiar with what's happening in your district. You need to be familiar with what's happening in your state and your city. It's not enough to just participate in the national election. You need to participate on a local level also. You need to understand who your senators are, your Congress people. You need to understand who your governors are. You need to know who your city council members are. You need to know who supports who and who's where, because if you don't, then this is the type of thing that happens. And even though the American people voted one way, they are still leveraging things that the Biden administration and the people before him put into the court system to try to stop Trump. And we know that these people are trying to do a political coup. We know this. And they're taking victory laps, and they're happy that they're doing it. They don't care about you. They don't care about the federal waste. They don't care about the fraud, waste, and abuse. They don't care about the budget. They don't care about whether or not your neighborhoods is being taken over by illegal migrants. They don't care about none of that. The only thing they care about is chaos, confusion, and maintaining power so that they can keep their friends rich.
And while judges are doing their part to stop the president, agitators are taking to the streets to vandalize Tesla vehicles in protest of Elon Musk and Doge, with the FBI revealing that Tesla vehicles and dealerships are being targeted with arson, gunfire, and vandalism in at least 9 states. President Trump is promising harsh penalties for these vandals, threatening to send them to jail for up to 20 years, with Attorney General Pam Bondi branding it as domestic terrorism. Joining me now, the woman herself in the Sunday Morning Futures exclusive, Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi. AG, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria. Happy Sunday.
And to you. Let me start with those flights to Venezuela. What can you tell us about Judge Boasberg's ruling and whether or not the Supreme Court is going to get involved here?
Oh, the Supreme Court will get involved. This is an out-of-control judge, a federal judge trying to control our entire foreign policy, and he cannot do it. You know, he dragged us into court on a Saturday without any notice, and then he's continuing these hearings. He's trying to ask us about national security information, which he is absolutely not entitled to. We are appealing. We will be in court Monday. Again, we will win. We will prevail. There are 261 reasons why Americans are safer today, and that's because those people are now in an El Salvador prison. And we are going to follow the law, and we are going to protect Americans. You know, there's a reason why Biden's approval rating was plummeting because of the border. There's a reason why the current Democrats' approval rating is at 29%. People want to be safe. This is President Trump's agenda to keep Americans safe, Maria. It's basic public safety. Get these people out of our country as fast as we can. They're not immigrants. They're illegal aliens who are committing the most violent crimes you can imagine on Americans. Murder, rapes. You know, ask the parents of all of these young women who have been violently strangled, raped, and murdered. And we are going to continue to make America safe again because that's President Trump's agenda.
Yeah, and we're going to talk with the NYPD commissioner in a few minutes, Jessica Tiege, and I'm going to ask her about the migrant arrests being down and whether or not it's a complete complete, impact from the president taking these people out of the city. Does this mean, though, that we've stopped shipping people out of the country as we await for resolution here from the Judge Boasberg ruling?
Well, we're continuing with the legal process, but we're also continuing to arrest people. We're not going to stop arresting these violent criminals. You know, the Alien Enemies Act applies today really more than ever. You know, old law is often the best law if you think about how the laws that have been on the books for a very long time. We are in modern day warfare. They have invaded our country, TDA, Tren de Agua. They are organized. They have a command structure. They are sending money to each other throughout the country and out of the country back to support their terrorist actions. It's modern day warfare, and we are going to continue to fight that and protect American citizens every single step of the way.
The last time we spoke, AG, you said in the next year, in a couple of years, we will not have what's called a sanctuary city. Are you getting resistance from these cities who say, no, we are a sanctuary for illegals?
Well, sure we are, and we're going to continue to pull their funding. We're going to continue to sue them, and they're going to come around. They're going to have to, because the federal government is going to step in and do the jobs of these cities and states who are refusing to protect their own citizens. I truly cannot comprehend how these states, how these governors want to protect criminals over the rights of their own citizens. These are violent criminals.
Oh, Pam, you know what it is. You know what it is, Pam. Let me tell you something about Democrats, and let me tell you something about people that are on the liberal side of the fence. They don't care about what happens to them. The only thing that they do care about is that you don't win. One thing I learned about Dusty people is that they will absolutely, and they're willing to, destroy themselves, because in their mind, they don't have anything to lose. And you do have something to lose. I did a review video over the weekend of a guy that basically told on himself. He volunteered himself, but I did a review on the video before he was able to delete it off of whatever platform that he got it on. But he told on himself, and he was like, yeah, man, I parked next to a Tesla truck, and, I just wanted to see what it is, and I know that he's weak, and I know that he's a MAGA guy. Don't you know that it's a lot of people that buy cars and trucks on both sides of the aisle? The Democrats was the ones that was the heaviest on environmental impact and electric vehicles and all of this type of stuff. They was the ones that was the heaviest on it. So he parks next to the guy. He parked so close to him to make sure that he couldn't get out of his car, and it was a pickup. So the back of his cab went back far enough to where it could mess up the main driver's door and the back door while he was still able to get out of the vehicle. And so he goes up, and then he looks out of the window of the grocery store to see when the guy was going to come out. And then he went back out there in order to try to antagonize him. And the guy never said a word. The guy was just kind of minding his business. He was frustrated. He was trying to figure out how he can get into his car, roll the window down, go on the back passenger side, get in, crawl into the front and all of that. And eventually he pulls off. And the guy is waiting for him to beef. And one of the things he said is, yeah, I know my pickup truck is a POS. I know it's a piece of crap, and I'm a convicted felon, but it doesn't really matter because I want to make sure that I antagonize him. And they will bait you. They will bait you. It's people every day. And not only that, but it's people every day. They bait me every day. Yeah, man, come on, pull up on me. I dare you to come to my city. So you think I'm going to drive to your city so that we can get into a fight or a confrontation? You possibly die, I possibly get in trouble, or you possibly sue me, you think that I'm about to stoop to the bottom of the bottom. You got 1.73 thousand subscribers, and I am supposed to get upset and antagonized at the fact that you said something disrespectful on the internet, and then I'm supposed to drive to your territory in your city and crash out. And I got all of this to lose. There are people out there every day that have zero to lose. They have zero, nothing. They ain't got $1 to their name. They dusty. Their wife is nagging them. Their baby mama is calling them. They got warrants out for their arrests. All right. And you think that we about to be like Yellow Beezy. You think we about to get our lick back? God already got their lick back on you. Your life is my lick back. They looking for somebody to crash out with. No, don't call. No, F that. I'm calling a bluff. And then what? Okay, so both of y'all go to jail. Now Mo 3 is dead and Yellow Beezy is being convicted of capital murder. And then what? We got to be smarter about this. We got to be wiser. Their life is my lick back. You're not hearing me. Your life is my lick back. When I look at you and I see your Instagram or I see your Facebook post, and every other day you saying about how you hate your baby daddy, and then you come onto my thing and say, you hate black women. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your circumstance. I'm mad that you can't pull yourself out of your situation because you keep on being dusty every day. When I look at you get on your air mattress, or when I look at you getting your house foreclosed on because you house poor, or when I see you get laid off and you was only one paycheck away from losing everything, I can't be mad at you for being mad at me. I'm mad at you for your situation. Your life is my lick back. Look at him. He got. So you mad at me because I'm rich, but how is that going to improve your lifestyle? You going to tear up. I did a video over the weekend and I said, see, we don't play that in Michigan. Ain't nobody about to mess up my Tesla. And I said, I dare them to. If they do, I'm going to call the insurance company and we're going to total it out, and then I'm going to go and buy something new. It's like people that burn up the stores in their own neighborhood to riot because they mad at what happened to some leader that they don't know. You do know we're going to get that insurance money payout, and then we're going to pack up our stuff because we was waiting to get out of your neighborhood anyway. Pack up my stuff. Then your place is going to become a food desert. Then the wolves are going to be left to themselves. Ain't going to be no jobs because small businesses and all of the tax dollars that was flowing through your community is absolutely leaving. All you did was trap yourself. You trapped yourself. Now you can't go nowhere. You don't have no money, no resources. It's dusty. Your kids can't walk down the street. The police ain't going to respond in time. You don't have no tax dollars to continue to fund your schools, and you messed up your own city and your community, and you think that we supposed to care about you. Now it's the system's fault. What did you think was going to happen? You thought that you was hurting me because you messed my stuff up and I got insurance and I'm going to get a payout and then I'm going to go and move and get something else. Why would I crash out about you? Your life is the crash out. Your life, it was one guy, I remember when I used to run Fight Club at night, and it was one guy that used to threaten me, man, I don't know you. I don't know. I've been to Detroit. He said, I've been to Detroit. Don't nobody know you in the streets. I asked around the streets. They said, don't nobody know you in the streets. Do you know that 2 weeks later, he was being arrested at 1500 Telegraph? 1500 Telegraph is where they keep all of the inmates, where they keep you in the jail. He couldn't even bond out. The dude had all kind of problems. Baby mama didn't like him, called to get him arrested. He still owed child support, and then he was fighting. They said that he was getting caught fighting, and he wasn't even in his own city. He was in my city. Okay, so now you at 1500 Telegraph. You got to face a court date. You possibly face 4 years in prison, and you still owe back child support. What you want me to do? Go and meet him and crash out with him? You want me to go fight him? His life is my lick back. I already got my lick back. God got it. God is handling it. God got me. Their life is our lick back. When we look at people that are dusty, understand that God already handled them. They're lashing out because they dusty, they busted, they disgusted. It's just the truth. It's the honest to God truth.
Was through the roof. And now with Donald Trump, it's going to plummet because we're going to get them off the streets if the state governments aren't. So yes, we're going to continue to fight that every step of the way. We will win.
What about these vandals on Tesla vehicles and dealerships? Give us the consequences there. And what are you learning once they're arrested? Why are they doing this?
Well, you know, we're looking at so much on this. There have been 3 federal charges so far, and I say so far. We are looking at all of these cases across the country. We have a dedicated task force. These are not isolated incidents, as you know, and these aren't vandals. These are Molotov cocktails. You know, that could be a weapon of mass destruction that they're throwing in Tesla dealerships.
Duncan says, I liked Anton. He's smart. He sounds like the dudes we used to beat up in high school. I promise to God, listen, if anybody had ever put their hands on me in high school, whether it was high school, college, or beyond, I promise you to God, either they in jail or they never live to talk about it. I promise you on everything I love. I promise you on my daughter's life. On my daughter's life, there has never been anybody. Listen, the only fights that has anybody ever got away with getting the best of me is when I was younger, and I talked about that on After Hours. But I promise you to God, listen, a lot of people talk a lot, but I promise you on everything, there is nobody on the face of this earth that could ever say that they got the best of me in any capacity whatsoever. Not one person. Not one person is here could tell you that they ever got the best of me in any way, shape, or form. Not one person. I mean that on everything. On my soul, I mean it. On my soul. You ain't never, listen, as visible as I am, you would think by now that some woman got a story about me, some guy got a story about me, some thug in the hood, somebody is going to come out and say, yeah, man, I did this to him, or this is what he was in high school, or what is that? Where they at, though? I graduated with over 2,000 people. Find me one. Find anybody in the world. Find a girl that said that I did something that I wasn't supposed to do, or a guy that ever said that he got the best of me, and let's see what happened. I promise you on my soul, ain't nobody ever got the best of me in my life.
Lighting these Tesla charging stations on fire that are in residential neighborhoods. I mean, it could cause tremendous damages. And people need to know the 3 people in custody right now, they will receive severe and swift consequences, and they are facing up to 20 years in prison. We are not negotiating these. We are not coming off these charges. We are looking at everything, especially if this is a concerted effort. This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett, who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. Yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully, because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
Well, it's
and I agree with that. These legislators, the people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC and the Bernie Sanders and stuff like that, they should be held accountable. They absolutely 100% should be held accountable. And more importantly, this is the exact same thing that they say about Trump. Remember when they used to try to hold Trump accountable, even though he offered Nancy Pelosi the full force of the National Guard to prevent certain stuff from happening? Why didn't you call it? He did. He said, stand down. Stand down. Hey, don't do this. Don't get involved with that. Don't get involved with this. Whatever, so on and so forth. And these are the same people that is basically putting the battery in these people back and don't have nothing to help them get out of it, and they not even going to check for you. They not going to check for you when you crash out and you got to do 20 years for domestic terrorism, but you feel compelled to get behind these people, and it's okay for them to put the battery in your back, and you going to crash out. You dumb, you stupid, and you going to crash out, and ain't nobody coming to save you. And I believe that they need to be held accountable.
Just extraordinary to me that you've got this resistance coming back. We saw the resistance in President Trump's first term, but then after that massive win in November where he won the popular vote in all the swing states, and yet now the judicial part of the branches are getting involved. Are you surprised by these judges? Not just Boasberg, we've got 3 others complaining about no men in women's sports and the Doge cuts. Broadly speaking, give us a sense of how you're looking at all of this resistance.
Oh, broadly speaking, we are fighting back every step of the way. We are in court every day fighting against these activist judges. We're not going to stop. Many of them should be recused from these cases. They will be recused from these cases.
Liberal
We're appealing
judges.
them. Look at Chuckin. Look at Judge Chuckin with the
Obama
EPA
and
trying to control our money. Judge Chang.
Listen, these are not just, you ain't even got to put Biden appointee, because I don't even believe that Biden was the one that was controlling the White House when he was the president of the United States of America. Every last one of these judges are Obama appointees. Every last one of these judges are Obama appointees. Every last one of them. And a horrible, absolutely horrible. Let's get over to Jasmine Crockett really quickly. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get over to Jasmine Crockett, but before we do, let me read some of these super chats, and we'll go from there. Shout out to Pretty Boy 79. Pretty Boy 79 says, health is the invisible crown that healthy people wear that only the sick can see. Y'all be blessed. Shout out to Pretty Boy 79. My dog Alex Oubre says, what up, Unc? It's my 23rd birthday. Just copped a day date 40. I like that. I like that. White gold, green. Ooh, wee. I want that one. I want that one. I don't even have that one. I want that one. White gold, green face. Thank you for contributing to my bag chasing mindset. Let's get it. Shout out to my dog Alex and happy birthday, big dog. I love you. I appreciate you. Jerry says, and those are the people you don't want to be around. They're waiting to crash out because their lives are terrible. Misery loves company. Oh, yeah, there's some of them in the chat right now, but we ain't tripping about it because, you know, sometimes they convert over and they say, you know what? I used to be dusty. I used to be broke. I used to be beaten off every day. But now, you know what? I changed my mindset. Thank you, Anton, for looking out for me and holding me down. Sometimes we convert them, Jerry, and so sometimes you got to just let them rock. They dusty, busted, and disgusted all day long, Eddie. Shout out to my dog, Eddie. My AR Smitty says, AD, what about your friend over that girl? I told you that was elementary school. Shout out to my dog, Edwin. We got into a fight in elementary school. Yes, we did. Over the summer. 6th grade going into 7th grade. Yeah. Sometimes you get into a scrap and sometimes you take a L. You can't win them all. But if you're going to lose them in elementary school so that when the time you get into high school, you're mature enough to be able to see it through and you don't get back and forth with people. Ain't about to go into that. They want to catch me slipping so bad. So bad. Shout out to Edwin. Shout out to my dog Edwin. He had a hard knuckle. A hard knuckle. We learned that day. I said, you know what? No more fighting over women. No more fighting over women. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Jasmine Crockett responded to Pam Bondi saying that these people need to be held accountable and they need to tread lightly when it comes to what they're inciting as far as these people keep going to these Tesla dealerships and vandalizing vehicles. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what she had to say.
New today, a direct message from Attorney General Pam Bondi to a sitting member of Congress for comments about Elon Musk. Let's take a listen.
Now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety.
Joining me now is Texas Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, vice-ranking member on the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform and ranking member of the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman, pardon me. It's always good to see you, my friend. And I'm going to say, I was looking at you on the monitor while you were listening to Pam Bondi. You seem to be not fazed at all. The Attorney General there, though, is telling you to tread carefully. I'm curious your response, and have some of these protests at Tesla dealerships gone too far?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to say that I participated in a Tesla takedown. That is the name of the website. And it was all about this large protest that they're calling for. And this is a nonviolent protest that they're calling for. And in fact, when I was on there, which is why the Attorney General had to say that I wasn't calling for violence, and it's ridiculous that I even have to say something like that. But because they are trying to twist our words, one of the things that I told people to do is make sure you are adhering to the laws in your area. Make sure you know what it looks like to protest and to be able to raise your voices and to exercise your constitutional right to free speech. And what we see is that they want to dull our free speech rights. They want to make sure that those that are participating in the press,
you want to dull your
there
free
have been
speech rights.
recent attacks specifically on this news organization, they want y'all to kind of tamp down what you say and hopefully buy into the lies instead of going out there and just telling the truth. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see that Elon Musk, that his money as it relates to Tesla, well, Tesla's tanking right now. And I'm okay with that. So just in case the slow people listening decide to clip this up later, I just want to say that I have never promoted violence whatsoever, yet I've also never made excuse for those violent actors such as the ones on January 6th. So Pam Bondi, if you have an issue with terrorism, maybe you should talk to your boss about locking back up those guys that he let out that participated in January 6th.
She's so ghetto and so sassy. And, you know, of course, they're going to protect themselves. They're never going to hold the people accountable that actually vandalize Tesla dealerships. And they think that Tesla stock is going to go and continue to tank. This is about as anti-American as you can possibly be. I have never in my life seen people want to see a bunch of people, hundreds of thousands of jobs worldwide, not just even in the United States of America, but worldwide. They want to see hundreds of thousands of people. And then we're not even going to talk about all of the other hundreds of thousands of people in industries that are then propped up, including suppliers, including business people, including small businesses that then benefit around it, including all of the homes and the different communities that are built up as a result of these plants and these jobs coming into the United States of America, including all of the people that got rich as a result of getting equity inside of Tesla as workers. They don't care about that. The only thing that they care is protecting their friends from being able to find out where the fraud, waste, and abuse is and continuing to maintain power because that's how they got rich. I would even probably venture to say that it's a possibility that we need to figure out who all is shorting Tesla as far as in their stocks in Congress and the Senate. We need to figure out who's shorting it because I want to know if any one of them benefited from it. I also want to know that. I want to know everything. This is as anti-American as you can be to say that, yes, I signed up and participated in Tesla takedown while also saying, but I did protect myself by saying, hey, listen, make sure you find out about the law. You know people ain't listening to that part. The only thing that they listening to is the part that they cheered for the most, and that's you being anti-American and making sure that you protest against the very people that's doing the thing that's the best. They don't care nothing about the astronauts. Notice how you didn't see any Democrat, not one, not Bernie Sanders, not AOC, not Jasmine Crockett, not all of these people on the Fight Oligarchy tour, and we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders and AOC later on in this show. Notice how you didn't see them say anything about the astronauts that got brought down from space even though Biden left them up there.
When Pam Bondi, though, says, you know, tread carefully, what does that even mean?
Yeah. All it means is that she's attempting to get me to say, oh, I'm going to be scared and I'm just not going to say anything because they are willing to literally break the law. I mean, that's what we've seen them do. They are ignoring court orders. They are ignoring what our own laws are. When we look at things such as impoundment, things like that, this entire administration is rogue. And this isn't about partisanship. I keep trying to tell people that we are living in the time of good versus evil, right versus wrong. And right now, when we are looking at the black letter of the law and they are deciding, I'm just going to ignore it, then they are wrong. That is clear as day. And
hey,
right now,
since I bought Tesla, remember I went and bought 10,000 shares just for the heck of it? I literally just pulled up my position in Tesla right now. It is up 15%. Bag chasers. Did y'all not catch that money? I'm up $1,564. So listen. You cannot in any way, shape, or form believe. In any way, shape, or form believe. Today's gain is up 9.6% today. Almost 10% today alone, it is up. It is up 10% today alone. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give it to the streets. When we get into Block Club, when we get into Block Club, what are we going to do? Oh, you don't believe me? Don't worry about it. I'll show it to you. You know me. I have no problem. Showing what it is that I got going on. I have no problem. I will show you 1,000%. They just talk. Listen. You are talking to people that have no clue. And when I say no clue, they have zero clue whatsoever. They have zero clue whatsoever on what's going on in this particular one. Just for the sake of it, I just grabbed 10,000 shares. Is up, 1,500. I did it with my daughter's account. My daughter is up $1,500 just because we bought some Tesla last week because we seen what people was doing. We don't care nothing about what they... Listen, you can continue to get involved with all of this nonsense. You can continue to play games. You can let them do all of the little pivoting, and that's why Tesla... No, it's not. It's just... Listen, I tell you guys every day, it is a buying opportunity. We're going to fix the camera in a minute. It's a buying opportunity. That's it. Every day it is a buying opportunity. When you see something happen and you see people that are complaining and they whining and they say, oh man, what you gonna do, Anton? The market is down. I'm buying a whole lot of it. What do you mean, what am I gonna do if the market is down? That means that we're gonna make a whole lot of money. My daughter just made $1,500 in her account. What are you going to do? Man, listen, I don't want to talk about it. I wish I could talk about it on this, but we're going to talk about it in Block Club this weekend. There is going to be so much money that is made. My daughter made $1,500 off of $10,000 in shares. There is going to be so much money that is made. So much money that is made. If you are fearful, if you do not have an abundance mindset, if you are so worried all the time, trust me, Democrats and liberals like Jasmine Crockett, they not doing nothing except for getting us richer. If you know, you know. If you are part of the Democratic plantation, and you can be a part of the Democratic plantation. If you're ready to run it up, then make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
Now they are going after anyone who decides that they will challenge them, whether it's the judges that are sitting on the benches, whether it is lawyers that have decided that they were going to represent their clients to the best of their ability, and most of them won against Trump and his administration. Basically, they are trying to get rid of all voices of dissent.
Okay, well, let's pick up on right versus wrong, because a new memo from the Trump administration in part directs the heads of the Justice and Homeland Security departments to seek sanctions against attorneys and law firms who engage in frivolous, unreasonable, and vexatious litigation. I've never used the word vexatious, but there you go, against the United States, or in matters that come before federal agencies. And I remind viewers, you are a trained lawyer. So in your legal expertise, is this memo by President Trump legal?
I mean, listen, he can write as many memos as he wants to write. I mean, a memo is just a memo. But as it relates to the guidance that they are trying to lay out for the Department of Justice, again, this is them going rogue. We already have provisions that lay out when someone should be able to go after someone and determine that they are vexatious or determine that they are bringing frivolous lawsuits, and therefore there should be sanctions. That's normal. I mean, listen, I've got plenty of crazies that love to sue. So I completely understand it. I completely agree with it. And ultimately, it is up to the judge to determine. But here's the thing. The Trump administration is losing. There are over 100 cases going on right now. And what we see is that we've got people like Attorney James, Attorney General James in New York that is winning. So
listen to what she's saying. Letitia James is the one that campaigned on trying to bring Trump down as a result in New York and trying to file that lawsuit. Once it goes up to appeal, once it goes up to the Supreme Court, we all know where all of this stuff is going. So yeah, they're having temporary victories from Obama-appointed judges and people that have ran in liberal cities like Letitia James over in New York. But we all know that Letitia James is evil. We all know this. So you can get on and play this long game to where they basically wasting American taxpayer dollars by having these attorneys temporarily slow down what we're already going to do, such as what Pam Bondi said, or you can get on the train to make sure that you do the thing that's best for the American people. They won't throw around these little terms and all of this stuff. Man, listen, bro, all they doing is slowing down the inevitable. You can run from it. You can hide. You can do anything that you want to do. That is why we're going to kick this up to the next notch, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and then we all know how that's going to play out, because we have a majority inside of the Supreme Court of conservatives versus liberals. It's so dumb. It is so stupid. Looks like I'm going to have to go ahead and swap out the camera because I don't like what's going on. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Jasmine Crockett, ladies and gentlemen. So stupid. Let me read some of these super chats, and we're going to move on to the next part of the show. I want to go with Wyatt B856. Shout out to Wyatt. Wyatt says, I've been a Patreon holder for about a year and never watched any of them, but this weekend I watched 3 of them, and wow, you're more transparent than Doge. Why have you been holding on to the Bag Chasers Patreon for over a year and you just now watching 3 of them? I tell you that I show the receipts. And then I show y'all how we benefit and how we run it up, and I give you everything. I hold nothing back. I am not a gatekeeper to my friends and my bag chasers. If you are not a part of the Patreon, then you're missing out. It's people that's become millionaires. It's people that has ran up a huge bag. We buy whole cars off of what we doing inside of there. And we ain't got to give you no entertainment. We get just straight to the money. You just now watching it, fam? Wyatt? Come on, fam. We got to do better than that. We got to do better than that, big dog. All right, so I'll swap out the camera in a minute. Shout out to you, Wyatt. I appreciate you. Look like chat for more. It says both parties are hypocrites. Yes, the vandalizers of Tesla and the January 6th rioters should be prosecuted as domestic terrorism. Trump pardon rioters is not good. Night Jade says Dems created sleeper cell agents, and now they're activated. They know exactly what they're doing, standing with another country you never own. Hold on, let me get this camera. I got to get a camera temporarily in this. I got to temporarily get something popping in here. You know what I'm saying? All right. Shout out to you, Night Jade. I appreciate you. A.R. Smitty says she's sassy and ghetto, all right. Word on the street is she ain't cut like that, though. Maybe she should grab a blonde wig. Shout out to you. Courtney Smith says Jasmine looks pretty enough now to attract a Nigerian scammer. Y'all so mean. Lisa M says, please get Anton Daniels on your show. He is running against her amazing patriot and attorney. Yeah, we probably going to bring him on this week just to let y'all know. EJ Rogers says, crazy she sounds normal without the sister act. Jerome Gray says, yeah, just like y'all did to Budweiser. Forgot about that. Chris Cunningham says, Senate stock watcher. Shout out to you. What else do we got up in here? Jason A-Team says, I just can't believe how they get away with lying so much. It makes me sick. Frank T is in the building, says, just got hired as a data center engineer for a multi-billion-dollar tech company. Amazing salary, huge sign-on, yearly bonuses and stock. I want to thank you for keeping my mind on track every morning. I truly appreciate you. Shout out to you and congratulations, big dog. I love to see that. Pookie's friend Ray Ray says, Crockett is beautiful. I'd give up my Tesla shares just to hold her hand while walking through the mall. Aww. Brian says, Tesla is up $23 today, $45 since Tuesday's close when I got my options. Tesla's option calls up $2K. Shout out to you. Make sure you use it wisely. Keith Murphy, the unbeaten, says, when Trump got elected and the stock market went up, that was Trump. But now that the market is down, it's a buying opportunity. Whose fault for a down market? Do you understand what a buying opportunity is? Don't worry about it. I don't want to fight y'all. I don't want to fight people against themselves. If you guys want to do whatever you want to do, then God bless you. I think that you should make sure that you keep protesting and keep on doing the things that you've been doing. And we are at the Bag Chasers going to continue to run it up. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's go over to the Department of Education. Linda McMahon had an interview on CNN. The one thing that you cannot say about conservatives or anybody that is a part of the Trump organization is that they don't absolutely positively make sure that they make themselves available for anybody that may have something to say against them. This is Linda and her speaking about what happens next with eliminating the Department of Education. Check it out.
Another hectic week in Donald Trump's America, and the president watched the NCAA wrestling match last night. But front and center back here in Washington is the education of America's children. After President Trump made good on a longtime conservative talking point and took major steps to shutter his own Department of Education. The president said some of the duties of the Education Department, like distributing funding for students with disabilities and managing student loans, would be handled by different departments. But there are urgent questions about how those changes would happen, how they would affect students who need the help, how any of it will help turn around learning for American kids. Well, here with me exclusively is the woman winding down her own department, Education Secretary Linda McMahon. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. There's so many concerns and questions from parents about the real consequences of all of this. So let's talk about it. Hopefully we'll get some answers today. The president's executive order said that the Department of Education should begin to shutter. You well know, and you said this under oath, you can't do that without Congress changing the law. It doesn't seem like right now there are the votes to do that. So if you can't close it down, what exactly will the Education Department be doing now?
Well, I think, first of all, thanks, Dana, for having me this morning. It's nice to start a Sunday with you.
Thank you.
I think the president was very clear. The outward-facing programs that are going to be affecting students there's not going to be any defunding for those programs. When he talked about student loans, that would be going to the Small Business Administration, and also then the programs for students with disabilities will more than likely rest in HHS, which, by the way, is where they began. I think we're looking at putting things in different departments where they can operate very efficiently as we look at how we can shut down the Department of Education.
Do they not operate efficiently now?
Not as well as they should be. As a matter of fact, the president campaigned on the fact that he wanted to close down the Department of Education. And what we saw with our scores recently with the NAEP, which is our country's report card, I mean, it's unacceptable where education is in our country today. And so the Department of Education does not educate one child. It does not establish any curriculum in any states. It doesn't hire teachers. It doesn't establish programs. Mm-hmm. What it is more of a pass-through of funding which is appropriated by Congress, by the way. And so we want to make sure that that funding continues in the departments where it needs to be, but at the same time, give states the opportunities to be innovative and creative with their teaching.
So you mentioned that there are lots of data. There's lots of data that shows that, I think, to put it mildly, education could be better in America.
Absolutely.
But you also just admitted, and it's just fact, that most of the funding, most of all of the curriculum, and everything that goes into educating our students happens on a local level. So I'm not quite sure how eliminating the Department of Education is going to make those test scores go up.
Well, a lot of the funding that goes into states now goes with a lot of red tape, a lot of strings attached to it. And so governors and state superintendents of education have said, look, if we have the funding coming in which allows us to be more creative, how can we spend that? The president believes, as I do, that the best education is that's closest to the students. And I want to look at some of the states that have been incredibly great over the last couple of years, like Louisiana. Their NAEP score showed that they had improved the most of any states. Those were programs that were put in place by the governors, by the superintendent of education, not having anything to do with the Department of Education in Washington. So what we need to do is to make sure that the funding has a clear path, the funding continues, but that the states are allowed to spend the money where they need to spend it, to hire teachers, increase their salaries, make sure that our students with special needs are taken care of. And that's what we want to make sure that happens.
I just want to ask a sort of a fundamental philosophical question, and that is, do you believe that the federal government has a responsibility to ensure that all children, rural children, urban, rich, poor, special needs, have access to quality education?
That is certainly the goal of the president. He has said that he wants to make sure that there is equal access to quality education for every student in our country, which is why he is such a proponent of school choice. He doesn't believe that any child should be trapped in a failing school, that we should have parents have the ability to choose where their children can be able to go to school so that if they are in a failing school, they have an opportunity to have better education somewhere else, that they have the tools to be able to do that.
But if I may, it's a goal of the president, but is it a federal responsibility to ensure that every child in America has access to a good education?
I think that was the purpose of public education when we first began it in our country. And I think that the federal government, state governments, we owe it to all of our children. After all, that's the next generation of our engineers, our scientists, our quantum mathematicians, but also our welders, our plumbers, our HVACs, our welders, all of that. We have to make sure that there's educational opportunity available to every single student so they can be the best they can be. That's how we compete in the world.
You mentioned.
So basically what she's saying, to make a long story short, basically what she's saying is that we need to spend more time and more resources, not on the BS, not on all of the extras that come along with it, not on all of the indoctrination policies, not making our schools indoctrination camps, but we need to make sure that the funding is going where it's supposed to go, and also ensure that the states are held responsible, and they are the ones that are stewards over the money that's being distributed to our education system on an individual level. She says, well, can we ensure that everybody is getting a quality education? All right, well, we have to answer that question with a question, and I never like to answer a question with a question, but I absolutely want to answer a question with a question in this instance because I think that is necessary. How many people in the chat right now, respectfully, regardless of what side of the aisle that you're on, because I know that we got some dusty people here that just want to chat and just say anything. How many people believe that the public school as we know it today, up to the point that Trump got elected into office, how many people believe that our education system, our public school education system, that has largely been covered over the Department of Education on the federal level, has been doing an adequate job on educating our students, especially as compared to people that are receiving educations outside of the United States of America? Jasmine and Tasha, I'm asking the same question. Is every student Because if you're complaining about something that's working, that's one thing. If you're complaining about something that hasn't been working and has been broken, and what Linda McMahon has basically said is that we just been pushing kids through. That's all we've been doing. We've been pushing kids through. The Room 9 kids is coming through with the same regular kids, and the kids that are actually, you know what it reminds me of? You know, I always like to use movie and movie relationship and music references. It reminds me of the movie Class Act. If y'all have never seen Class Act before, it is hilarious. I love that movie. It was with Kid and Play. All right. You have Blade Brown and Duncan Penderhughes had got switched up, and somehow they jumped in the air because they ran into the black lady's booty, and they transcripts got switched around, and so they mistakenly both had got into each other's classes. By the end of the movie, what they realized was that Blade Brown, which was the dark-skinned one, actually wasn't a thug, and he wasn't stupid. He just wasn't applying himself, and the education system was failing us because our culture, the culture by which he subjected himself to, was wrong. It was so many psychological lessons that came along with watching that movie. It was so many lessons that came along with that movie. The dude, Duncan Penderhughes, he was not supposed to be in this other class, but he was able to adjust and adapt. But at the same time, it was very, very toxic for him. And he had to call Blade Brown in order to become a cultural norm and had to dumb himself down in order to be accepted. And then ultimately, they had to discover that he was actually one of the good guys. Blade Brown wasn't an idiot. He just didn't apply himself, and his cultural norms prevented him from actually doing the thing that he was supposed to do because all they seen him as is a thug. It's the exact same thing as our education system, except for they just push them through. They just push them through. Don't matter if you pass, don't matter if you, hey, no child is left behind. Push them through. Push them through. Push them through. I used to see kids back when I was coming up either get double promoted, and sometimes kids had to get held back. Double promoted and held back. Now everybody can come through. Everybody wins.
Students with disabilities. Of course, currently your department enforces the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which does guarantee, it's a federal guarantee for free public education for children with disabilities. Can you guarantee to those parents and those students that there won't be any disruption with their education and the guarantees for their education?
I certainly hope. I would like to see even more funding go to the states for that. And if it rests with HHS, which is one of the suggestions, that funding clearly is going to continue to come from Congress. And we want to make sure that those students do have those special services and those needs which they have, which is really monitored and taken care of at the state level.
So it's funding, but I'm not hearing so far any federal promise from you, who is still in charge of federal education policy and the laws passed by Congress that you are still in charge of to protect children who need it, that those protections are still going to be there and that they won't be disrupted.
They're not going to be disrupted. And it really does rest from the federal level on the funding. So the funding is appropriated by Congress. It flows through to the states. But am I, the Secretary of Education sitting in Washington, going to have a view into a schoolroom where a teacher is trying to take care of a student with special needs?
Nope.
Or is that going to happen better at the local level where that teacher, in cooperation with the parents and the local school officials, has more opportunity to make sure that student's needs are taken care of? That's where it needs to lie.
So basically what they're saying is the same thing that we were saying, but obviously a much different issue when it came to your body, your choice. We need to let that be handled on the local level. Why? Because on the local level, you know better about what it is that needs to be funded, and you know better about what needs to happen inside of those classrooms. The funding doesn't change. The bureaucratic tape, the federal oversight, all of these extra things that came along with the funding, all of these extra people that are making money and that is stealing from the system, we're removing that. and we're still going to have funding for education. It still gets distributed, but it is now handled on a state's level, and we don't need the federal government to be playing a much larger role in what happens on a school level, the same way that you don't need the federal government playing a huge role in 2025 on what the states determine and the people that vote in those states on whether or not you can use a deletion of your babies as a form of contraception. We don't need all of these different layers of government. You know what happens when you have too many layers of middle management inside of a company? The company dies. It's slow to innovate. It doesn't know what goes on the ground. It has no clue of what the customers want. You are basically allowing for the states to take back control of what happens to their students when it comes to education and be held accountable as a result of it. We don't need the Department of Education continuing to oversee what's happening.
If they don't have the funding, if they don't have the support from Congress to continue to appropriate that money, then that's where the students can really, fall through the cracks.
Okay, so let's talk about funding. Let's focus on funding. There are a lot.
Dana ain't got nothing for this lady. Dana ain't got nothing for this lady.
Republicans, including many state officials, education officials in particular, who want you to change Title I grants for students in low-income or low-performing areas into what's known as block grants, which is just a lump sum of money with no strings attached. Now, there are some advocates, some experts who think that no strings attached concept will mean that the money won't get to those who need it. It could end up with also larger class sizes, fewer after-school programs, fewer resources.
You're talking about how they had larger class sizes as a result of allocating monies for the immigration, illegal immigration inside of the United States of America?
How do you do a block? And first of all, I guess the question is, do you want to do that block grant?
That's one of the suggestions. And as I've talked to governors around the country, many governors, Governor Youngkin in Virginia, who said, clearly, I think that we have eyes on the education in our states. And if we have the funding, that we know how to spend it, where to spend it, without the government trying to say from their bureaucratic perch in Washington, this is where you should be spending that money. And Governor Youngkin or other governors could say, no, but if I take that money and I spend it in this district, or I spend it over here for teacher salaries, or I spend it here, I'm going to raise the level of education in my state. I'm the one with the bird's eye view, and I'm the one with the accountability.
I like that.
How do you?
I like that.
On the one hand, say.
Listen, if you guys don't like where the money is being allocated inside of your state to what, whether it's teacher salaries, whether it's to the schools, whether they allow for you to do school of choice, whether you go to a voucher program, if more money need to be distributed as far as people that are homeschooling, that is on the individual state's desk now. That is not a federal mandate. They distribute the money. The states are now responsible on an individual level. The legislators inside of the states, the governors, the teachers, all of you guys will now have to have a greater sense of responsibility and a larger role in educating your children. Who would not want this? Who would not want this? And it speaks to what I've been telling you guys for years and years and years, ever since we started this platform, is that you have to get involved on a local level. Individually, what happens to you on a daily basis, it is much more impactful for you to get involved on the local level than for you to get involved on the national level. The national level is cool. The local level is a requirement. People that come to me and say, hey, my vote don't matter, I ask them, well, who is your city council member and what district are they over inside of you? Who's your alderman? How do you know what education the children are getting? What is the millages that's going on inside of your state? Did you vote on which millage, and what did the millage say? Did you read it before you went to the polls? Why wouldn't we allow for the states to determine where the funding is going and just giving it to them? And Linda McMahon didn't even say that this is what they were doing definitively. She said, I'm having conversations with the different governors in these states to determine exactly how we need to do it. Should we do it as a block or should we do it individually?
Is still in the business of, which is still the law, protecting those students with disabilities, for example, and then send money without any guarantee that that's where the federal taxpayer dollars will go.
Oh, well, let's be sure that we're understanding when you're talking about Title I versus IDEA money, which is the money that is being passed by Congress for students with disabilities. That will go for that purpose.
So that won't be block granted.
That's not going to be block granted in with Title I money. No, that's separate money that would go because they would clearly have that responsibility to make sure that money does get to those students.
I mean, that's an important distinction.
Oh, it's a very
I don't think
important
that was clear to people.
That's a very important distinction.
Just on the idea of...
She over there killing Dana Bash. Dana Bash can't even say nothing negative because Dana Bash is usually combative. She listening. She let her finish her whole question, and then she answer her, and she correct her and give her some insight. Oh, I didn't know. Now you know.
Of Congress, you mentioned this, that the president wants to move the student loan program to the Small Business Administration, which you were in charge of in the last Trump term, and then move others to HHS. Why do you think President Trump has the legal authority to do that when these programs are inside your department through a law of Congress?
Well, certainly President Trump has said he will move things in accordance with the law and in cooperation with Congress. He certainly knows that if there are statutes or laws that are governing where they need to be, we'll have to abide by the law.
Nice. I like Linda McMahon. I think that she's doing an excellent job in communicating exactly what the Trump mandates are. And I think that it's going well. I think that she's absolutely positively giving a master class on listening and respond, listen and understand and then responding instead of listening to respond. Shout out to Linda McMahon and shout out to the Trump administration. The Department of Education has been failing us since the beginning of time. Since the beginning of time. All right. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue on with the show. Let's see what we got here. Shout out to Shell says, new subscriber, really enjoying the channel. Thank you. Thank you, Shell. I appreciate you for rocking out with me. Big Time of 24 says they keep talking about January 6 pardons, but not the people Biden pardon that actually took out FBI agents. Ooh. Equal access to education is deep. Look, Aaron want DEI so bad. I don't even know why Aaron want DEI. I have no clue. Well, Aaron did say when we was having a conversation that he was a DEI candidate. If I remember exactly. It's a fact, Anton, they just passing kids along and most of them can't read, speaking from experience. Shout out to Molly. Y'all can catch Molly every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday on After Hours. That's my girl. Wyatt B856 says, AD, one question. On one of your properties, you poured concrete walls for $25,000. Are you asking me a Patreon level question? Because I went over the budget. Would it cut costs to run the walls up in blocks versus concrete? So you're talking about the foundation, right? You're talking about the foundation. I don't think that it would cut costs at all. I think it is much cheaper, first of all, and is much sturdier, and it's easier for us to be able to put vapor barrier and to prevent moisture inside of the basement when we're pouring the basement, and then making sure that it's much easier to just pour concrete. And that's almost a standard in Michigan. It's much easier to pour concrete than it is for us to do block walls. And I'm not trying to save no money. I wouldn't even evaluate that because I think that it's much more likely for you to have problems with the foundation of your basement. And I don't know this for sure because I'm not a contractor. I just go based off of what the contractors tell me. I think that it's much more likely for you to have problems with the foundation of your property if you did it in blocks. And you have to pour this concrete, and you got to meet the standards and the expectations of whatever it is that they mandate in the city. Along the entire way, they actually go and inspect every single thing that you do, from the excavation to the plumbing to anything that you do as far as pouring the foundation and all of that stuff. So, no, I don't think that you would save money at all. You would cost more money in labor. You would cost more money in material. And you would cost more money as far as the foundation and the integrity of it, in my opinion. So, no, I think that it's much more conducive for you to lay the concrete or to pour the concrete. Nope, at all. Yep, and you're right, older product. You're 100% right. So, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Don't be asking me no Patreon questions that we be having a conversation about inside of the Patreon, all right? But no, I don't mind answering the questions. I'm just messing with you. Let me also say 392Q says, damn, Molly is fine as hell. Let me tell you something, 392Q. You don't want to mess with Molly. You don't want no Molly. Molly is she can be very beneficial for you if you know how to deal with a Molly. It comes with a lot. I'm telling you, it comes with a lot. Listen, sometimes people be barking up the wrong tree just because they like what it look like. You can't always want something that's not good for you, because she may be good for a certain type of guy, but she not good for everybody, because it take a lot to tame something like that. You got to have a certain type of mindset to deal with a woman like that. I'm just telling you. Now, if you got it in you, then go ahead and do your thing and shoot your shot. I'm not dirty macking. I would never dirty mac. Listen, if you can get her, then get her. I ain't gonna stop you from getting her. That's between y'all. I'm just telling you that some women are a little bit more high maintenance than others. And high maintenance could be a lot of different things. High maintenance could be the type of guy that you are. High maintenance could be the level of conversation that you got to have with them in order to keep them tame. It could be a whole lot of things. But all I'm telling you is make sure that you're careful about the ones that you want to go and rock out with, because it could be a lot that come along with it. She could be very valuable, or it could be very difficult for you. I don't know if that's what you want, though. So, be careful. Be careful. That's all I'm saying is be careful. Oh, shout out to my girl Molly. She know what I'm talking about. She ain't crazy. She not crazy. Because she going to tell you exactly what's on her mind. And if you're not the type of person that can deal with that, then, it may go that other way. Anyways, let me continue on with the show. Anton is a cat tamer with a top hat and a cape. Y'all shouldn't want, listen. Everybody should not want every single woman, because even though it may be cute and it may be pretty and it got a nice shape or whatever like that, you got to go with the thing that is best for you. If it makes sense for it to be that, then cool. And sometimes it's not. But we got to make sure that we getting ourselves into the right situation. Every situation is not a good situation if you don't know what you're dealing with. That's all I'm saying. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into the next part of the show. Bernie Sanders, I heard, walked out at the end of an interview when they asked him about AOC. I haven't seen it yet, but I figured we could all look at it together. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it.
I want you to look
It's not necessarily a bad thing, Molly, at all. At all.
at every level of office around you and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones that can win against Republicans.
I would not be telling you the truth if I didn't tell you that within the Democrats.
Molly, and you know what? I mean, it's the same with guys. Before we get into this Bernie Sanders situation, it's the same with guys. A lot of women will tell you that I am a lot to deal with. It may look cool. You may want this life. You may want the cars and the clothes and all of that type of stuff. But, can you deal with the fact that you may not see me for 1 or 2 or 3 days? Can you deal with the fact that, you know what I'm saying, I'm with you for a short time, not necessarily for a long time, until I'm with you for the next short time? Everybody can't handle that. Some women need a man that is going to be up under them every day, or work 40 hours, or come home and be able to chill with you. I'm not the type of person that can chill with you. I'm probably going to be gone before you wake up, because I got to go get that money and I got to go take care of business, and I'm on top of things. Everybody is not. Now, it's a lifestyle that come with it, and you can be able to shop, but you're going to have to be purposeful by yourself for a day or two sometimes, because I may not be able to get to you. And I don't work a regular 9 to 5, and I may not necessarily be to bed at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I go to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm grinding and I'm hustling. Everything is not for everybody. And just because somebody is nice or just because somebody is cool doesn't mean that it's necessarily for you. You have to know your personality, because you're going to be out here crashing out because you think it's one way and it's going to be that other way. And I can't meet every expectation. I got a lot of hats to wear, and a lot of people need me. And it's the same thing with men. It's the same thing. Some women don't mind a guy that's being gone all the time, and they prefer that instead of a guy that is sitting up under them all day and that's working 40 hours. Some women like to chill while her man is playing video games. Some women don't. Some women like to be out in the streets and be able to fly everywhere and stuff like that. You got to know your personality in a person. So all I'm saying is make sure that you're careful about the people that you're interested in, because just because the presentation layer is great doesn't mean that you understand what's underneath it and what comes with it. That's all I'm saying.
Democratic Party, there are billionaires who have undue influence. Democrats have turned their backs on the working class of this country.
That was Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez drawing more than 30,000 supporters in Denver on Friday. I was there and spoke with Senator Sanders after the rally about whether the Democratic Party can do anything to slow President Trump's agenda. Bernie is back.
Hey, Mr. Trump, people fought and died to create a democratic society. You're not going to take it away from us.
83-year-old independent Senator Bernie Sanders is drawing crowds even bigger than he did as a presidential candidate.
Feeling the burn.
Yeah. For the past month, Sanders has taken his fight against President Donald Trump on the road. He's billing it the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
Now, the reason that they go into these particular places is
President Donald Trump.
Look at where they're going. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, right? Colorado, all of these places outside of Colorado, the majority of these places that they've stopped through are what? Swing states. Swing states. They are busy, and of course, they're drawing out crowds of people that already is rocking with them, so that's not a big deal. But these are places that they're campaigning in. They're campaigning to continue to grow their own constituents. Why would AOC, for example, considering that she serves, districts in New York, why would she be in all of these other places? How come they're not spending any time? Pay attention, y'all. Why are they not spending any time in places that is actually for their constituents? If I'm a person who AOC represents me, right? I want her coming to talk to us. I want her listening to us. I want her working and fighting for more jobs. I know that she killed the Amazon deal that would have brought a whole lot of jobs inside of her particular city. Why wouldn't she be in her city talking to her constituents, working on getting businesses to open up and then focusing on cleaning up the streets and participating in getting funding and actually seeing what the people want in her particular district? All Democrats are doing is running a popularity contest. That's it. All Democrats are doing are running a popularity contest. It's the same thing with Jasmine Crockett. Yo, how many of y'all in Dallas actually see Jasmine Crockett on the streets? Jasmine Crockett is at ABC. She on the Breakfast Club over in New York. She got her security. She's signing autographs. She's literally signing autographs like a rock star. Taking names, kissing babies, rubbing people. They are running for a higher office. They're not serving the people that's in their district. They're not trying to understand what's going on. They're not trying to see what's happening over here. They're not trying to work in the people. The people that voted them in their district is not the people that they serve. They are focused on social media, popularity contests, and all of that stuff. They paying attention to what's going to happen 4 years, 2 years, 6 years, 8 years from now. They're not paying attention to what's going on in their own city.
On the road, he's billing it the Fighting Oligarchy Tour.
We will not allow America to become an oligarchy.
In Denver, the anti-Trump sentiment was strong.
Oh, I think it's a disaster. And he talks about he has a mandate. He never had a mandate.
But so was the frustration with Democrats.
How's the Democratic Party doing challenging this?
They got to be a little tougher.
Quit being a bunch of doormats.
It feels like we're left stranded when everything feels like it's crumbling.
This shit got on a... Jesus, Lord. Bless my apologist white people that's wearing Black Lives Matter shirts. Bless my apologist white people that are... God. This should tell you everything about everybody that is popping up on their tour. This should tell y'all everything about everybody that's showing up to see these people speak. If you think that one conservative is going in there curious, like, you know what? Let me see what the Democrats got to say. Let me see what AOC and Bernie Sanders are saying. I want to get to Bernie Sanders' actual interview. All right, I want to see if he walked out.
Run for president, you do a lot of rallies, and we've done a lot of big rallies. 32,000 people here is by far the largest rally I have ever done, and nobody's running for office. That tells you something.
So what are you trying to accomplish with this tour?
I'm trying to make it clear to the people throughout the world and throughout our own country that the American people are not going to sit idly by and allow Trump establish an oligarchic form of government where Musk and other billionaires are running our government, and we're not going to sit back and allow him to form an authoritarian form of society undermining the Constitution, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and undoing what the founding fathers of this country did in the 1790s, separation of powers, making sure that no one person had an extraordinary amount of power. And that is precisely what Trump is trying to do. He wants it all. He doesn't want Congress. He doesn't want the media. He doesn't want the judiciary. He wants all of the power. We cannot allow him to have that.
Well, I hear you telling people out there, fight back. What do you mean, though? How do these people, how do they fight back?
Well, it's the question. We're working on it right now. But I think simply, first of all, coming here and showing the world.
Oh, this is all a dog and pony show, fam. This is all a dog and pony show. Fight back, fight back. All right, so what do you mean by fight back? Well, we working on it. We working on what that means and what that looks like. This is just an opportunity for them to rile y'all up. Y'all just getting rowdy and getting riled up. What do you mean we working on it? Why are you telling them to fight back, and you fight back doing what? Well, we working on that part. We got to figure that part out. We don't know exactly what it means, but we definitely got a big crowd out there, and so we got to rally them together and get them riled up. Man, people is... Bernie Panders. That is exactly a great name. Let's go a little bit closer because I know that he walked out towards the end of this interview. I want to see what he said to incite this walkout.
About whether or not Schumer should remain the Democratic leader in the Senate. And he got irritated when I asked him about the possibility of AOC running, abruptly getting up to end the interview.
Okay, you're out there with AOC today. Do you see her as a future of the progressive?
We have one of the untold stories of what's going on in current American politics, is that in the House of Representatives, you have dozens and dozens of strong, smart, disciplined, hardworking young people in the Progressive Caucus. And way back when I first came to the Congress and the House, I helped form the Progressive Caucus. We had 5 people in it at that time. Now they got close to 100. So you got a whole lot of good people. Alexandria is extraordinary. I am so impressed by her work in Congress and she inspires.
What work in Congress? What is she doing?
Would you like to see her join in the Senate?
Right now we have, as I said, just a whole lot of people in the Congress. Okay, Jonathan, thanks.
Wait, I got one more. This is important.
Well, I asked you.
Okay.
You want to do nonsense, do nonsense.
No.
I don't want to talk about inside the Beltway stuff. I got 32,000 people.
I was just asking you about AOC because she was out there with you.
No, fine, but I don't want to talk about this. What was the last question?
I was just going to ask you one more question about you. I mean, that's all. I was literally your last.
What is your question?
Well, I mean, it's easier.
Oh my gosh. You gotta love this junk, man. You gotta love this. It is absolutely awesome. Hey, dog was about to get up just because he asked an additional question about AOC.
I mean, I want to ask you about your future. This is the biggest crowd. You said you ran for president twice. This is the biggest crowd you've ever seen. Are we going to see you run again, or what's your future?
No, right now, I am very proud that the people of the state of Vermont sent me back to the Senate with 63% of the vote. Right now, I'm Vermont senator. That's what I do, and I'm very happy to do it. I am 83 years of age, and I'm tired.
All right, Art.
So Bernie Sanders walked out on an, well, he was about to walk out on an interview. He got sassy. He got sassy and he didn't want to answer no question. Of course they're going to try to get her to become a part of Congress. What are you thinking? You think y'all think that AOC is out here having a conversation based off of what makes them feel good, or she running this fight oligarchy quote unquote tour because it's just something to do because they trying to rally the American people? No. Every last one of these people are doing this because they are looking for their next opportunity. They're looking for their next opportunity in politics. Listen, you think that Nancy Pelosi got rich and that AOC is going to sit here and just continue to be in the House? Yeah, right, boy. AOC is trying to come and get that job. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I put that green on there because they trying to get that money. Money bag. Money bag. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what we got here. 392Q says, Molly gonna have me like Jelly Roll off of the Janky Promoters getting shot at by her husband. You don't want that. I try to tell y'all, you don't want that. You don't want that. You don't know what she got. Molly got whole streets. Nah, listen, you want to get it. Let me ask y'all a question. I hate to use Molly as an example. Do you want to deal with a woman respectfully? And I love my Molly. Y'all know I love my Molly. Do you want to pick up and say, all right, listen, I want to get with a woman that got a street named after her? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Robert Davison is in the building. Shout out to my dog, Robert Davison. Robin Davison says, be careful on that motorcycle. People can't see you. Oh, they say me. They see me. I don't agree with reparations. I don't agree with reparations, but you never see white people wearing a reparations t-shirt. That's a fact. Face Fact says, I'm sorry, not Face Facts. I appreciate your Face Facts. Manuel AG says, sounds like Bernie's mad. No one's looking at him to be the leader. But J-Dub says, something for the collection plate. Thank you for all that you do for me in this community. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. All right, y'all. Let's continue on with the show. Moneybag Time is in the building. All right, we're going to go red on this one. What we got next? Let's see. Bernie Sanders. Oh, okay. I just want to keep y'all up to date on something really quickly. We only going to spend 10 minutes on this. Trump is deporting nearly 200 Venezuelan migrants back to Venezuela. Check it out.
All right, there's also this. Today, the Trump administration will suspend its migrant deportation flights in a federal appeals court just hours after another flight carrying migrant gang members touched down in Venezuela, which is huge news as well. Venezuela, once again, accepting our deportation flights.
Madeline Rivera, live in Washington with the details. Hey, Maddie.
Good morning, Carly and Todd. The Trump administration maintains it's on solid legal ground as its use of the Alien Enemies Act is litigated in court. This hearing at an appeals court today comes after federal judge James Boasberg expressed skepticism on Friday of the Trump administration's invocation of the wartime statute. The president argues he can exercise the authority because Tren de Aragua is threatening an invasion. Boasberg called the policy ramifications incredibly troublesome and problematic and concerning. He's promising to investigate whether the administration defied his order to turn deportation flights to El Salvador back around. But Border Czar Tom Homan says the administration never defied the court's order. Listen here.
I don't care what that judges think. As far as this case, we're going to continue to arrest public safety threats and national security threats. We're going to continue to deport them from the United States.
We are saying that TDA is acting as a proxy of the Maduro regime. This is how the Alien and Sedition Act applies. And we cannot have district judges interfering with the commander-in-chief's actions to take care of, in the way he deems necessary, a terrorist organization.
After a standoff, Venezuela, like you guys said, is now agreeing to accept deportation flights from the U.S., the first one landing at Venezuela Sunday with 199 illegal aliens, including gang members. And Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is planning to visit Central America this week. Her visit will be kicking off on Wednesday with a tour of El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, where hundreds of migrant criminals were deported last week.
I was listening to a woman over the weekend, and she put it perfectly in ways that I couldn't put it. She explained it perfectly, and I actually did a review video on it. And she says, imagine getting mad at the person that's actually fighting the crime instead of the people that broke the law. They took a risk, and yes, they smart. They didn't walk over here and they was like, you know what? We don't know what we doing. We just gonna come over and see what happened. Oh man, I've been paying taxes for a long time. You took a calculated risk to come over here illegally with the expectation that hopefully everything worked out for you. You got comfortable, you got settled, you decided to have kids intentionally, knowing that you could then try to leverage birthright citizenship that wasn't even supposed to be for you. It was supposed to be for people that were African descendants of slaves. And we tried to use a loophole in order to get you in, and then you was able to get a free hotel and all of this stuff. And then you came over here and they say, you know, people like Jasmine Crockett will say, well, they pay taxes too. They pay taxes too. Well, that's what you're supposed to do when you work inside of the United States of America. Did you know that drug dealers are supposed to pay taxes too? Even if it's ill-gotten gains. Did you know that ill-gotten gains is supposed to be taxed even though it was ill-gotten? That was the way that they took down a lot of different people. They couldn't get them on a crime that they was doing because they couldn't get nobody to snitch on them, and they couldn't tie them to the crime itself, and so they got them on taxes. They got them on taxes. People that have ill-gotten gains also are supposed to pay taxes. As crazy as it sounds, any gains that you get, you are supposed to pay taxes on. So miss me with the BS. Miss me with the idea that you are supposed to benefit from a system that you illegally got. Doesn't absolve you from the crime that you committed. Does not absolve you from the crime that you committed. If you go and rob a bank and then you give half of the money over into the streets or to homeless people, did you still rob a bank? Did you still rob a bank? And I'm surprised at y'all in the chat, some of y'all. Some of y'all that hate Trump, some of y'all that hate the fact that I'm conservative so much that you would go against your own neighborhood. Well, Anton, how were they going against their own neighborhood? Because you realize that resources that could have been, like I've even seen people that I disagree with about reparations, and they said, listen, at the very least, how y'all gonna give it to them, but y'all been skipping over us? Listen, even the pro-black, blackity-black, ashy-knee suckers that's in the chat right now should agree with that. They took billions and billions of monies. And even though while you and I was having a debate on whether or not reparations had happened in the first place, we was wasting our time. Well, you was wasting your time because I knew that they wasn't gonna give you reparations anyway, but they took money that could have been allocated to you. Because listen, as much as I don't necessarily care about it, if they gave it to you, because I don't need it, I'm good. If they gave it to you, I would rather them give it to you, a person that is an American citizen, than give it to somebody that came over here illegally. They gave them free hotel rooms. They gave them healthcare services on taxpayer dime. New York spent over $7 billion in direct cash payments and resources that they've allocated to migrants. They got healthcare, they got schooling, they got all of this stuff, right? I would rather them give it to you than to give them to people. At least I know you. I know you. And I may not necessarily agree with you, but I ain't going to give it to them. Why would I give it to somebody that ain't from here, but not give it? We can at least agree on that. We may not agree on all of the things, but at least we should agree on that, right? Right? But you so evil and you so ugly and you so dedicated to being mad at the Trump administration, and you looking for a fight, you looking for issues, you looking for me to say anything that upsets you so you can, I'm going to type hard in the chat, that you can't even realize that while you trying to be mad at me and I'm giving over to the streets, they giving your tax dollars away to people that ain't even from here. How you going to support Listen, you hate white people that live here that actually pay into the tax system that is supposed to help feed you and help you to be successful, and pay into the tax system that fund the schools and all of this stuff, but then you love people that ain't even from here. You so hateful. You so ugly. You a ugly YN. That's what you are. You a white. Oh, man, I love migrants, but I hate white people. What? So you hate Americans, but you love people that ain't even from here. And they from a country that don't even espouse your views and values. I love Ukraine. Boy, don't you know if you was in Ukraine right now, they put you in a concentration camp. They put you at the front line to get shot first. They don't espouse your values in Ukraine, you dummy. Oh, man, you know, I stand with Palestine. They don't like you over there in Palestine, dummy. Don't you know if you went over there and said some of the stuff that you say over here, boy, you'd be thrown into a concentration camp. Man, China's living in 2050. Yeah, but they also filter through your emails, and if you say something you ain't supposed to do, they're going to throw you in another concentration camp. You so hateful. You so dumb. So stupid. Always hating on somebody that you close to. You the type of dude that'll go and hang out with the ops. See your brother struggling on the street and then want to go and help somebody that you don't even know. I know the type of dudes that y'all are. You the type of dude that'll see your homie struggling and then give some money to a hoe and fly her in order to have a good weekend with her. That's the type of person. You will see your brother failing, and just because y'all had an argument when you was 5 years old and he threw a He-Man doll at you, you going to hold it against him, but you going to make sure that you continue to fund that girl that don't care nothing about you, that's trying to get all of the money out of you. That's the type of dude that y'all are. That's why I'm scared of y'all, bro. That's why I'm scared of y'all, bro. I'm scared of the type of people that y'all. I'm scared of Americans that's on the other side of the aisle, man, because they crazy, man. They nuts. They nuts. They will burn up their own stores, fam. They'll sit here and stand on the front. They'll show up for AOC and Bernie Sanders, and it's poverty in their own neighborhoods. They won't show up to the community meeting. They don't know who their Congress member is, but these people will show up on a front lawn of they will go out of town and go to an AOC Bernie Sanders meeting that can't do nothing for them and don't know nothing about the person that's actually in their own district. Your own neighborhood. You will run out of town to go and spend some money and give it to somebody else. You the type. Oh, scared of y'all type of dudes, man. Scared of y'all. Y'all support illegal migrants. They got tattoos on their face. They wouldn't let you inside of a picnic outside in a public space, and you will hate your own neighbor as a result of it. You will go and break in your own neighbor's house and then go over there and just, but I want to make sure that y'all accept me.
A DHS spokesperson, Tricia McLaughlin, telling Fox News Digital that Noam and the president are sending a clear message for criminal aliens considering entering America illegally. Don't even think about it. After Noam's prison visit, she's also planning on meeting with El Salvador's president. Carly and Todd.
Madeline Rivera, live for us in Washington. Maddie, thank you.
You got it.
Let's bring in Terrell County, Texas Sheriff and retired Border Patrol Agent Thaddeus Cleveland. Sheriff Cleveland, good morning to you. So obviously there has been a lot of back and forth regarding this migrant flight to El Salvador. And the question from people who don't think it should happen is, how does the Trump administration know that everybody on board this flight is a gang member? Well, Tom Homan provided some clarity on that yesterday. Listen to this.
Look, there's various methods. No, I've noticed in the media this week, a lot of them don't have criminal histories. Well, a lot of gang members don't have criminal histories. Just like a lot of terrorists in this world, they're not in any terrorist database, right? We only know the information what's in databases based on, for instance, most terrorists we arrest that are identified by the U.S. government are later identified through a Title III investigation or through an undercover operation. They're not in any terrorist screening database. We know that.
Homan would go on to say we have to count on sworn statements from other gang members.
I stand with Canada. You ain't never been to Canada. Closest you ever got to Canada was listening to a Tory Lanez album. I stand with Canadians. And don't get me wrong, I'm cool with my Canadian brothers and sisters. I stand with America first. America above everything, above all. The family first. The family first. We can't talk about nothing that nobody else got going on outside of here until we talk about what's best for the family first. Then we start to include everybody else. Until you fix your own home, your own hood, your own neighborhood, your own block, unless you fix all of that first, I'm not standing with nothing to nobody until I stand with my own first. I am an American first. I stand with Canada. You ain't never been there, sucker. You don't even know nothing about hockey.
Monitoring social media, anything involved in a criminal investigation comes into play. So a lot of people are focusing on the people on those flights saying we're not in a gang. But Tom Holman is saying I trust my field agents who say yes, they are.
Hey, good morning, Carly. Great to be on with you. And I have said the same thing. Look, whether it's ICE agents or Customs and Border Protection, Border Patrol agents or Office of Field Operations, when they conduct interviews, when they're doing parts of their investigation to find out who these people are, just through discussions and through interview techniques, I'm quite sure that they also have done proper justice. Look, we swear we take an oath when we put on the badge, and we're going to stand by that oath. And if we've determined someone's here illegally and is a criminal and a gang member, then those that are trying to legislate from the bench, they should accept those sworn testimonies and our duties.
All right. Well,
y'all need to get some backbone. Hey, man. Hey, bro. I get it from the women because the women do stuff that's not best for them. They crazy. They run off of emotion, but you're not supposed to do the same thing. It's okay to have emotions, but it's not okay to act out of it. It's not okay to act out of it. Put your hand down, man. Put your hand. Come on, man. Come on, man. Where you from? What you doing? What you got going on? Why you so weak with it? Why you so weak with it? I stand with these people, man. Stand your butt. You can't even stand with you don't even want to pay your grandma rent. Grandma asked me for rent again. I've been staying in her house for the last 15 years. I don't know why she want to ask me for rent. And then you would go and trick it all off on a bottle at the club down the street with some chick that don't even like you. And she was just looking to get a tip out of you. Don't want to pay your own mama no rent. Don't want to give her nothing on the gas bill, the heat bill, feeling entitled. You don't want to get y'all some backwards. Promise to God, bro. Promise to God I don't rock with these dudes, man. I don't rock with them at all. Yo, homie could be going homeless and you wouldn't give him $5 to feed himself and then you go off and trick it off on a chick. Clown. You ain't never even been out of your city, but you stand talking about you want to get a passport to go. Man, shut up. You ain't been past 8 Mile. Shut your black mouth up. Ain't been past 8 Mile. Don't scared to go past 8 Mile because Oakland County gonna have you pent on the hood of your car and arresting you because you got warrants out. You can't even get out of the warrants out of you wanted for child support talking about getting a passport. Shut the hell up, bro. Man, I'm about to get my passport. First, you got to clear that warrant up, big dog. You got to clear that warrant up, big dog, before you start talking about a passport. Can't get a Spirit flight to save your name. Flag on the play. Read some of these super chats. Niggas got warrants for child support talking about I'm about to get a passport. Man, fix the relationship with your baby mama first before you start talking about coming on my platform. Man, I can't stand this. These women ain't doing this. They need to be more submissive. Dog, you need to be more submissive to that 9 to 5. Listen, you listen to me talk about women, not the other way around. I don't want to hear nothing from you. You got to make sure that you go to work and you got to get a job first, fam, before we start talking about women. What we talking about women for? And we supposed to be talking about money. They can't even get out of Wayne County, Antoine Johnson. Guess what? They don't have Klarna and Afterpay for passports, bro. I promise you, there is no Klarna, no Afterpay for passports. You can't put it on the financing. You got to pay for it outright. Never heard of TSA pre-check. Pre-check? Pre-check? TSA? Huh. TSA? What is that? You don't know nothing about that? That's way past you. You got to get to the basics. We got to get the basics. First, we got to get you a driver's license. License is suspended trying to get on a plane. Don't get on a plane with an invalid license, all right? You can't, you should not be booking flights with an man, yeah, dog, we trying to head over to Dominican Republic. Sosua, homie, hold on. Give me a second first. Can we get your license unsuspended first? Can we clear up your warrants? Can we get caught up on child support before we start talking about trips out of town? No, you don't want to do that part? You want to skip steps? Can we get you some decent, secure housing before we go over to the club? No, you don't want to do that? You don't want to do it? You want to talk about who should be submitting to you? I got you. I got you. Some of y'all, honestly, you just need to join the military. Some of y'all honestly just need to join the military. Honest to God. Forget a passport. Join the military and fix your life, dog. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Go get you some free schooling. Go get you some, you know what I'm saying? Get you some act right. Get you some discipline. Honest to God, some of y'all really need to join the military, fam. Whew. Be typing all in the chat. I see your ceiling falling down in your car on your profile picture. And that's the best picture that you got in your phone. You took your picture like this. Your profile picture got your ceiling in your car coming down. That's an 88 Escort. Last thing we need to be talking about is AD and whether or not he can get into a fight or not. We need to get you out of that 88 Escort. The emission standards on that car is no longer acceptable. You could have traded that in on cash for clunkers during Obama's first term in office so that we can spur the auto industry. Remember they was doing cash for clunkers? That's an 88. And it's not a classic either. It's not a classic. I see some of y'all pro. And then they be talking about me. I can't believe Anton got the nerve to call me Dusty. Y'all said it's vintage. Krista Jackson said, good morning, AD. We looking to fill a CDL over-the-road position immediately. We have a direct freight and consistent work. How can I post contact information for any drivers listening? Super Chat won't let me post my email. No, Krista, put it in. I need to put a job board on my website. I'm gonna create a job board for the bag chasers for anybody. You probably should put it in the Discord. The Discord inside of the Patreon would probably be best. Or just put your email, but don't put the @ symbol. Just put @AT and then do it like that. So get in touch with your car. Your car could probably help you out the best. Shout out to your car. We appreciate you. And thank you to Krista Jackson. And thank you for offering the job. You know, it's hard to find good workers around here. Travis, what up, Travis? I appreciate you. AR Smitty says, calling someone a YN is a strong accusation, AD. I see their profile pictures. The Goofy Academy. Shout out to A-Man01. Tyrant the Tyrant says, pledging allegiance to a group of people who didn't claim you as their own. I see it a lot with my generation, sadly. It's crazy. Travis says, some states are giving Medicaid to migrants. This is why the Democrats are mad that funding is being lowered to pre-COVID levels. DJ Ace Productions says these are the same people who can't travel because Dominican Republic is not within driving distance. Man, listen, bro. Listen. It's hard out here for a pimp, DJ Ace. It's hard out here. Let me pivot for a second. I want to have another conversation really quickly. Not that one. Do y'all remember? I forgot what it was. Was it Virginia or something like that? It was one of those governors that basically was advocating for men and women's bathrooms and men and women's sports. And Trump was basically saying, okay, listen, mess around and find out. And I'm going to withdraw funding that I'm sending to your state because of it. Well, he is demanding a full apology now. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's spend 10 minutes on this one, y'all.
Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Maine. Governor of Maine.
Are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't.
See you in court.
Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one.
President Trump looking to end his dispute with Maine Governor Janet Mills once and for all and demanding a, quote, full-throated apology from the Democrat mayor who has been silent on protecting women's sports before fully restoring federal funding.
Last time I asked a woman for a full-throated apology, never mind. It's the Millionaire Morning Show. I was about to go dark. Where's my black Air Force Ones at? Where's my... Is it Monday or is it Friday? I don't know how he came up with that. I don't know how he came up with a full-throated... What is a full-throated apology? What is a... Okay, somebody tell me in the chat, what is a full-throated apology? Because I took that wrong, and maybe it's just because my mind is not right and it's not doing what it's supposed to do. What is a full-throated apology? Okay, tell me that I'm not the only person that thought that full-throated meant one thing when it probably meant something else. But neither here nor there. The Trump administration is demanding that she will never make such an unlawful challenge to the federal government again before this case can be settled. You don't want to mess with the funding to your state, do you?
Joining us now is Maine State Representative Laurel Libby. Representative Libby, thank you for joining us this morning. From the outside, it kind of looks like Janet Mills completely folded in the face of President Trump's threats, but I think you have a slightly different and perhaps a better informed view of it.
Governor Mills is trying to pull a fast one here. She has no intention of removing biological males from girls' sports in Maine. We heard this last week that the University of Maine system has said that they will comply with Title IX. But guess what? They've never had biological males participating in girls' sports. It's actually at the high school level, not the college level, where we've seen biological males participating in girls' sports in Maine. And Governor Mills, the Democrat majority in the Maine Principals Association, have no intention whatsoever of changing their policy, let alone apologizing to President Trump.
Okay, so that's...
So wait a minute. Because on a very basic level, guys, what I'm trying to understand is, why are y'all willing to risk funding to your state? Why are you fighting a fight that nobody asked you to fight? Is somebody asking y'all to fight this fight that I'm not familiar with? Who is fighting the fight to make sure that they can have men and women's sports and men and girls bathrooms? Have y'all seen... I'm gonna have to do a review video on it on the Anton Daniels channel. Have y'all seen the video of the girl that was basically like, yo, I'm the person that was going against the dude that was a swimmer that was breaking all of the women's records, and I actually tagged him in a meet, and I would actually have to deal with him coming inside of our bathrooms over at this major university? Have y'all seen that video? I'm assuming that none of y'all got daughters. Of all the fights that you can fight, of all of the things that we need to solve and the social ills of this world, you're ready to stand on business when it comes to funding to your state. Let's say you win. Let's say you hold it up. Let's say you have to use taxpayer dollars to battle Trump in court, which you will not win, because I can't see any court standing up to the idea that they're allowing for men to go in women's sports, but maybe we do. We know what we got a lot of Obama judges, right? What is wrong with y'all? Riley Gaines, that was her name. Riley Gaines, and she talked about, I hope I could see that. Let me see some more of that.
Absolutely mind-blowing. So the problem is actually even worse than what we think, because it's, at the college level, it's bad, but the idea that it's at the high school level is even worse. Is there anything that a president can do about that at the high school level?
Well, the question remains the same. It's the federal funding issue. When you look at the K through 12 level, there are hundreds of $millions at stake here. And that's the level where we need to see the Trump administration taking action and absolutely following through on their promise, unfortunately, to take federal funding and ensure that Maine does not receive that. It's the only way that Maine girls will see a fair, safe, and level playing field. And unfortunately, at the same time, that will harm Maine students. But I think that's the only recourse we have in our state.
Yeah, so this is one of those issues that I think in 10 years from now, we're going to look back and try to have to explain to our kids that this was ever an issue, because it makes no sense. But and so I think that normal Democrats don't support any of this stuff. Do you get the sense that some of your Democrat colleagues in Maine realize what a loser this is, and hopefully, more importantly, how dangerous this is and how bad this is for children, and that maybe they should get sort of in league with you guys to actually try to fix some of this at the high school level?
As a mom of one,
everyday Mainers absolutely across party lines understand that it's common sense. Biological males don't have a place in girls' sports. Unfortunately, at the legislative level, we don't necessarily see that same response. The Democrats over the years have primaried out their more reasonable counterparts. Wow. And so we have really extremists at the state house level. And that's why I see recourse necessary from the federal level versus the state level and anything.
I raced and tied with a male athlete at the Division I NCAA Women's Swimming and Diving National Championship. This athlete had swum 3 years prior. 3 years ago to the day, I raced and tied with a male athlete at the Division I NCAA Women's Swimming and Diving National. 3 years ago to the day, I raced and tied with a male athlete at the Division I NCAA Women's Swimming and Diving National Championship. This athlete had swum 3 years prior on the men's team at University of Pennsylvania before ultimately deciding to switch to the women's team in his senior year. In the men's division, he was a mediocre Division I swimmer at best, to then just 12 months later switching to the women's division and winning a national title. This athlete stood at over 6'4" and shared a locker room space with myself, my teammates, and other female swimmers from around the country. And he was fully male. Given the fact that this was 3 years ago to the day, the timing of what I'm about to tell you feels serendipitous, because today President Trump announced that he is withholding $175 million in federal funds from the University of Pennsylvania because of their regressive, discriminatory policies against women that ultimately allowed for this man to be on the women's team. First of all, UPenn is considered to be a prestigious, accredited academic institution, which, how in the world can you be an accredited educational establishment if you can't tell the difference between men and women? The sheer essence of humanity. Although I guess I shouldn't be too surprised considering we have a sitting Supreme Court justice who doesn't know what a woman is. And second of all, this is not all of UPenn's federal funding. They receive over $1 billion a year in federal funds, which raises my second question. Why in the world is a private institution receiving that much in federal funds anyway? UPenn charges exorbitant tuitions and they receive billions in endowments. Why should my taxpayer dollars be taken from me under force of threat to pay for anyone or anything at that university? Again, a private university. $175 million is a drop in the bucket for University of Pennsylvania, but hopefully this sends a message to every university, to every corporation, to every entity that receives federal funds that you will no longer use your policies or initiatives or programs to discriminate against women on the basis of our sex. And
y'all are being discriminated against. You guys, women are being discriminated against. and you're fighting for this to remain in our society and in our culture.
Anything legislatively.
Well, thank you so much for putting up the good fight, and keep us informed on how things are going up there in Maine. This is not how our political leaders are supposed to be behaving. Thank you so much.
So Trump is demanding a full-throated apology. Again, I'm not sure exactly what that means. I guess he wants a verbal apology for disrespect that came from the unlawful challenge that the federal government has to deal with. I'm not sure if he'll be able to actually hold that funding. If I was the people of Maine, I would be demanding that our government give a full-throated apology, whatever that means. I would be demanding that my governor give a full-throated apology, because it's no reason why we should be standing on doing this stuff against our girls anyway. All right? All right? I think that's all. I think that's all. I think we covered it all. I had one more thing that I thought that I wanted to cover today, but I'm going to hold off. I think that we can go ahead and cover it tomorrow. We can make sure we get to it tomorrow. Let me read some of these super chats. We had about the 2.5 hour mark, so yeah. Let me read some of these super chats and I get y'all up out of there. I actually got to go and take care of some business. AD, speaking of Klarna, you know they partnered with DoorDash. Folks about to be financing. No, dog. Wait a minute. Y'all financing y'all meals? Meals? Y'all Klarna in y'all meals? No, that's out of control. Tyrant of Tyrant says a full-throated apology, an apology that's sincere, completed without reservations, expressed with strong feelings and conviction. Yeah, okay. A full-throated apology is a double wild entendre. Just got a raise. You still doing coaching calls? I'm thinking about it. Let me talk to my people, Matt Washington. Let me talk to my people. Thank you. Email for CDL OTR job is Krista at highwayvtrucking.com. Let me say that again. Krista at highwayvtrucking.com. And they also going to post it inside of the Discord. So shout out to all of the Patreon members, all right? Thank you, Krista Jackson, for helping the people get to the money. Mr. Robinson says, AD, yo. And Donald Trump sound alike when he talks that big talk. Alameo, throated apology is a wild line, but something you would say if you probably president too if disrespected. Maybe he meant deep-throated apology. All right, that's how I know it's time to end the stream. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Again, it's been a phenomenal show. Fun show. Fun show. We got the Q show tonight, so that should absolutely be awesome. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for always holding me down and for everybody that contributed into the platform. If you have not already, we got Stock Club this weekend. Make sure you tap into the Patreon link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.